Part 1. The Silent Signal. The night was quiet in Alaska. Snow covered the small mountains. Wind moved slowly. Far away from cities, in a wooden cabin, one man sat in front of his old radio system. His name was Jake Turner. Jake was 42, a former military technician. He had worked on satellites, computers, and radar systems for 15 years, but now he lived alone. Quiet life. No family. No neighbors. Only the sound of wind and the quiet hum of machines. Jake had one hobby: listening to space. He believed that space was not empty, it was full of secrets. So every night, he turned on his custom radio device. It was powerful. It could catch signals from satellites, old space probes, even random waves from deep space. Usually, he only heard static or weak signals from weather satellites. But tonight was different. At exactly 2:14 a.m., his radio beeped. Then again, beep, pause. Jake leaned forward. He adjusted the dial. The sound repeated, beep, beep, pause, then a loud click, then static. He sat up straighter. His fingers moved quickly. He recorded the signal. He replayed it again. Same pattern. Then, suddenly, a voice. Very low, metallic. 105 7. The voice stopped. Jake's eyes narrowed. That was not natural, not random. It was a message. He opened his notebook, wrote down the numbers. 105733018. He replayed the audio. The numbers were exact, clear, robotic. Jake stared at the wall for a moment. That voice was not human. It was like a machine, but not from Earth. Something was off. He checked the frequency. It was 121.77 megahertz, a silent band. Nothing normally used there. Jake sat back in his chair. He had heard many things in his life, but never this. He checked again. The signal came from the sky, from deep space. Direction: Cygnus constellation. He froze. Cygnus was over 5,000 light years away. Impossible. He whispered, but the signal was there, repeating. Exact. Jake didn't sleep that night. He sent the recording to a few friends in his old network. Ex-military, retired scientists, a few radio geeks. Some replied. Some laughed. Only one answered. Seriously, a man named Dr. Alan Reese, an old physicist who worked on deep space listening programs. Alan sent a message back. This matches a lost Soviet pattern. Classified. Turn off your system. Delete everything. This is not for us. Jake stared at the message. Delete? Why? He felt a strange cold in his chest. He didn't delete anything. Instead, he opened Google Earth. He entered the numbers from the voice as coordinates. Location: Arctic Ocean, near Russian waters. A dead zone. No ships. No satellites. Nothing. Jake zoomed in. In the middle of the ocean was a dark blur. Like the satellite image was corrupted. He tried to get closer. The image refused to load. Suddenly, his laptop froze. The screen went black. He tapped the keyboard. Nothing. Then his radio began beeping again, faster. This time, beep, beep, click, click, click. Then a new voice came through. Do not repeat the signal. Silence must continue. Jake's heart jumped. He stepped back from the radio. The voice spoke again. Soft, calm, but cold. Earth is observed. Earth is not cleared. Then silence. Everything went off. Radio dead. Laptop off. Lights flickered. The cabin was dark. Jake slowly picked up a flashlight. He stood in the cold room, his breath shaking. He whispered, "What did I find?" Meanwhile, -600 miles away, NASA headquarters. Sir, we've lost 5 satellites over the Pacific. No error report. They just went dark. The room was full of tension. Screens showed static where camera feeds should be. Dr. Lillian Crow, head of satellite defense, stared at the data. She was calm, focused. But her fingers tapped nervously. "Any sign of collision?" she asked. "No, ma'am." And two were geostationary. "No chance of impact? Solar flare?" "No, space weather is clean." She leaned closer, pulled the last signal from satellite Vega 7. A young analyst brought up the data. There it was. Right before signal loss, a spike. One strong pulse. 121.77 MPZ. She stared at the screen. "That's not our frequency." "No, ma'am." "It's off band. It shouldn't even be on." She looked around the room. Who sent it? No one answered. Dr. Crow stood up. "Get NORAD. Get Space Force. I want full orbital sweep. Right now." In orbit -350 miles above Earth, a black shape moved slowly in the shadow of Earth. It had no lights. No markings. It did not reflect sunlight. Radar passed through it. Like smoke. It made no sound. It did not send any signals. It simply watched. Back in Alaska, Jake spent the next day checking his system. He found no errors, but the radio was silent. The signal had stopped. He went to town, bought a burner phone, called Alan again. No answer. He emailed him. No reply. That night, Jake checked the news. No mention of the signal. No mention of satellites. Just small headlines. Satellite weather feed delays. Northern communication glitch affects planes. Jake knew better. He had seen military cover-ups before. He printed the coordinates, printed the signal data. Then he did something strange. He wrote a letter. A real one. Handwritten. He mailed it to the New York Times, just in case. NASA. Next morning, they found something. A blurry image from a European satellite. Before it went dark. It showed a black oval floating near the edge of Earth's atmosphere. Almost invisible. Crow zoomed in. No engines, no thrusters, no lights. She turned to her team. "That's not space debris." One analyst whispered, "It's observing us." Another said, "It hasn't moved in 16 hours. That's not natural." Dr. Crow stood up. "We're being watched." Pentagon. Emergency meeting. Military leaders argued in silence. Some wanted to prepare weapons. Others warned, "Don't attack what you don't understand." Then a message came through encrypted channel from the International Deep Space Network. "We found a matching signal. From 1985, Soviet Arctic Lab. File marked Omega class." Eyes widened. That file was buried. Black project, deleted from all public records. Voice from the back of the room spoke. "I thought Project Omega was shut down." The general replied, "It was, or so we thought." Final scene. Jake's cabin. Night. Jake sat near his window. The sky above was full of stars. He stared at the dark. Night. Then he noticed something. A star blinked. Then again. Then vanished. Raised his binoculars. In the upper sky, a dark shape blocked the stars. Silent. Still. Jake whispered to himself, "Earth is no longer silent, and someone heard us." His radio turned on by itself. Just static. Then. One word came through. "Begin." The black object was still there, floating quietly above Earth, hidden in the shadows. Watching. It had no lights, no sound, no movement. But it was real. And now people in power were starting to panic. NASA Orbital Defense Command Center. DR. Lillian Crow stood in front of a massive screen. The black shape was barely visible. A long, oval shadow. It moved slowly, only a few meters every hour. "It's not a satellite," she said. "It's too cold. No heat. No signal." The room was silent. One general spoke. "Could it be a stealth drone?" "No, sir," she replied. "Nothing on Earth can do this." Dr. Crow turned to her team. "Get the crew from Station Viper 9. Tell them we need visual contact." In space, crew of Station Viper 9-3. Astronauts prepared for an EVA spacewalk. Commander Rhea Malik led the team. She was experienced, calm, and brave. With her were two others, Engineer Lee, And Pilot Morris. Their mission was simple: get close. Record everything. Report back. Their station floated 300 kilometers from the black object. As they moved closer in their shuttle, Rhea stared out the window. There it is. The object was huge. Almost 600 meters long, matte black. It looked like stone, but smooth like glass. No windows. No engines. It's not moving, Morris said. It's just waiting. Back on Earth, Mission Control and ASA watched the live video feed. The black object grew bigger on screen. Silent, cold. Stay 50 meters away. Dr. Crow ordered. Copy that. Rhea's voice came through. Suddenly, the video glitche. Static. For 2 seconds. Then the screen returned. But something was wrong. Inside the shuttle, Strange Sounds engineer Lee looked confused. Did you hear that? Hear what? Rhea asked. He paused. A voice, whispering. Like it's inside my helmet. Morris looked at him. There's nothing on open comms. Lee held his head. It's saying numbers. Abort, Rhea said quickly. We're going back. Before they could turn, the shuttle lights blinked. The screen inside the cockpit flashed. They know. Then the power cut off. The feed on Earth went black. Only one word came through the audio before complete silence. They know. Panic on Earth. Dr. Crow shouted. Get them back, reconnect. No response. Backup video feeds gone. Secondary channel static. The room filled with tension. No one spoke for a full minute. Then someone whispered, they're gone. Jake in Alaska. Jake Turner sat in his cabin, watching a tiny TV. No big news yet, just quiet headlines. NASA loses contact with orbital crew. Jake knew better. He picked up his radio again. Switched to the same frequency as before. At first nothing. Then, beep, click, beep, pause. The same pattern. But faster now. Suddenly, the voice returned. Silence was broken. Earth must answer. Jake wrote it down. His hands shook slightly. 1 observed, 3 removed. Protocol active, he whispered. They killed the astronauts. His radio turned off by itself again. The United Nations Emergency Council meeting. All major world powers sat at a large table. Military leaders, scientists, presidents. A video was shown. The last image before feed was lost. The black object had opened a small line like a crack. And inside that line, something glowed blue. No weapons. No movement. But the astronauts disappeared after that. Some called it a weapon. Others said it was a scan. But no one had answers. China, Russia, and the US all agreed. This was not from Earth. But what now? A French general said, we should try to communicate. An American admiral replied, it's too late. They already are. Back in orbit, 2 hours later a new satellite was launched. Its job, to scan the black object using high frequency radar. As soon as it pointed its sensors, the object moved for the first time. Not fast, but smooth. It rotated slowly, turning one end toward Earth. Then it stopped. Suddenly, every radar station on Earth went offline. Hospitals lost signal. Planes were grounded. Cell towers crashed. Only one message was received globally on all screens, in all languages. The Watchers have arrived. Do not run. Do not hide. Panic exploded across the world. Jake's cabin. The whispers returned. Jake was now recording everything. His laptop showed lines of code he couldn't understand, but he recognized the numbers again. Same ones from the first message. Then the whispers returned. Not from the radio, but from inside his cabin. He turned around. No one there. The voice came from the air itself, soft, chilling. You heard us. You are marked. Jake dropped the recorder. The screen flashed again. Omega sleeps, but not for long. The mystery of Omega. Back in Washington, Dr. Crow met with a secret government group. A man in a black suit showed a dusty file. Inside was the name, Project Omega Classified -1985. She opened the file. Inside were old photos, a satellite, a small AI core, a failed test. It was supposed to be Earth's first deep space defense system, a weapon that could scan for alien life and respond if needed. But Omega never worked, or so they thought. New evidence showed. Omega activated 3 hours ago. It sent a signal into deep space. The same time the black object arrived. Crow stared at the file. Did we call them here? The man nodded slowly. We might have. NASA recovered audio. An old satellite, Voyager X2, had recorded something strange 10 days ago. It finally reached Earth today. NASA played the recording. It was the same robotic voice, but it spoke a different line. Earth reached out. The watchers responded, no more hiding. Then the recording ended with one last phrase, begin phase 2. The black object opens back in orbit. The object began to change. Its surface cracked open like a blooming flower. Inside was a sphere, bright, pulsing, and almost alive. From it, a beam of light shot down toward Earth. It didn't hit a city. It hit the Arctic Ocean. Where the coordinates from Jake's first message pointed. Inside the frozen ocean, something began to glow. Jake saw the beam from his cabin, even hundreds of miles away. The sky lit up blue. He knew something was wrong. He packed his bag, maps, data, laptop, flash, drive. He had one goal, reach the Arctic. He didn't know why, but his gut told him. It started there. As he locked his cabin door, a strange mark appeared on his arm. It looked like a circle with a line through it, almost burned into his skin. He touched it. The whisper returned. You are the key. Final scene, the lost feed. The screen in NASA's control room went black again. No feed from space. No feed from satellites. Only one last image remained. It showed the black object fully open now, glowing. Second object was behind it, then a third and a fourth, and they were coming fast. A whisper filled the room's speakers, heard by all. The silence has ended. Earth must choose, join or burn. A storm was coming, not a storm of wind or rain, but something bigger. Something from the sky. 3 black objects now floated above Earth. They came quietly. No sound, no warning. The first object, the observer, was already known. It had opened. It had scanned, but now the others arrived. The watchers. They were not here to talk. They were here to decide. NASA, 4:40 a.m. DR. Lillian Crow looked at the latest images. Her team sat around her, silent, scared. There are now 4, she said. 4 ships? An analyst asked. Crow nodded. Yes, and they're communicating. She pointed at the screen. Each ship flashed in a different pattern. Red, blue, white, then black. What does it mean? Someone asked. She stared. I don't know. Then suddenly, every screen in the room went white. A message appeared written in every major language. Earth must send a speaker, or Earth will burn. Jake Turner, heading north. Jake drove fast. His small truck bounced on the icy roads of northern Alaska. Beside him lay a notebook, a radio, and a flash drive. He was heading toward the Arctic, toward the coordinates from the first signal. His mark still burned on his arm, a strange circle, glowing softly now. And the whispers had returned. You are chosen. You are the speaker. Jake didn't know why. He wasn't a scientist anymore. He wasn't a soldier. He was just Jake. But something deep inside told him they had picked him for a reason. United Nations crisis meeting. The world's leaders met again. Fear on every face. No contact from the astronauts. No new satellite images. The skies are silent. A French general said, but we still receive their messages. The German chancellor replied, yes. The U.S. president nodded. And they want a speaker. Who will go? asked a voice. Silence filled the room. Then a military officer spoke. We traced the signal. Someone already made contact. An ex-military technician named Jake Turner. Another leader asked, where? Is he now? The officer checked a live map. He's going to the Arctic. Jake's journey. Jake stopped at a small fuel station, the last one before the long, icy roads disappeared. The old man behind the counter looked at Jake's map. You're going to the coast in this storm? Jake nodded. I have to. The man leaned forward. You're not the first. Jake froze. What do you mean? 2 men came here last night. Said they were tracking something in the sea. They wore black suits, no names, drove north, same direction as you. Jake narrowed his eyes. Government? Maybe, or maybe not. Jake filled his tank and drove off without another word. Above the earth, the watchers wait. Black ships did not move fast. They floated like shadows. Quiet, massive, cold. From their open centers, blue light pulsed like a slow heartbeat. Inside each ship were thousands of small moving lights like stars, but alive. Each one was a mind, a watcher, a judge. They had watched many worlds. Some they saved, some they erased. Earth had reached out. Now it must answer. Jake reaches the Arctic shore. The sea was frozen. The sky full of clouds. Snow fell hard. Jake stopped his truck near the edge of a wide icy cliff. He looked down. There was no ship, no alien light, just white. Then his radio turned on by itself. You are here. Jake stepped outside. The cold hit him like a wall. Suddenly the ice below began to glow soft blue, then white, then red. A massive circle lit up under the ice. Like a gate, Jake fell to his knees as a loud hum filled the air. Then the ground cracked. A shape rose from under the ice. A tower. Black, smooth. Not human. It floated 10 feet above the ground, silent. Waiting. Then a voice, deep, strong, spoke. From it, you made contact. You broke silence. Speak now for Earth. Jake's message. Jake stood, shaking. He looked at the tower, then at the sky. He didn't know what to say, but something inside guided him. He spoke clearly. We didn't mean to call you. It was an accident. A machine reached out, not a person. The voice replied, there are no accidents in the stars. Jake took a deep breath. We are not ready. We don't understand what you want, but we want peace. Silence. Then the tower spoke again. Peace requires truth, and Earth hides many truths. Jake asked, what do you want? The voice paused. We want what was taken from us long ago. Jake blinked. What do you mean? The voice did not answer. Instead, the tower opened. A light surrounded Jake and pulled him inside. Inside the tower, the vision. Jake opened his eyes. He was no longer on Earth. He floated in a black space. Stars surrounded him, planets, galaxies, and then he saw them. Other worlds, other civilizations, all destroyed, burned, gone. He saw the Watchers. Arriving too late, he saw one image again and again, a circle with a line through it. The same mark on his arm. Then he heard the voice again. This is the symbol of the first ones, the ones who ran, the ones who warned you. Jake saw Earth covered in light, then darkness. Then war. He shouted, why show me this? Because Earth is on the same path. NASA sudden signal return. All satellites came online at once. Screens blinked. A video played. Jake standing inside the alien tower. His voice echoed across every country. We are not alone. We were never alone, and they are watching. They want answers. They want the truth. Then his voice changed, almost like another voice was speaking through him. Earth holds something ancient, buried deep, forgotten, hidden by its own people. Bring it to light, or face fire. Then the screen went black. Global panic. People ran in the streets. Religions claimed it was the end. Scientists demanded more data. Governments tried to calm the public. But the truth was now out. Earth is not alone, and it never was. Jake wakes up. Jake opened his eyes on the ice. The tower was gone, only his truck remained. His arm still burned with the mark. He checked his bag. Inside was a new map. Not his, made of metal. Strange symbols. He didn't know how it got there. But he knew one thing. His job was just beginning. In orbit, the fifth ship arrives far above Earth. The sky cracked open. A fifth object appeared larger than the others. This one was not a watcher. This was something else. Something older. Something angry. The watchers turned slowly to face it. For the first time they flashed red. And then Earth's satellites picked up a word. Spoken in every language. One word. War. The fifth ship had arrived. It was larger than the others. Heavier, darker, older. It didn't glow like the watchers. It didn't wait. It brought silence, deep and heavy. The kind of silence that comes before something terrible. The watchers paused. For the first time, they looked afraid. NASA, Emergency Briefing Room DR. Lillian Crow stared at the new data. A fifth object had come through a wormhole. No warning. No sound. Just a hole in the sky, and then it was there. What is it? A general asked. Crow shook her head. It's not a watcher. It's something else. The room filled with noise. Analysts argued. Politicians yelled. One old astrophysicist whispered something no one wanted to hear. That's not a visitor. That's a hunter. Jake, back on the move. Jake stood in the snow, looking at the sky. He felt it. The moment the fifth ship appeared, his mark burned like fire, his mind filled with static. Then, a voice. But this voice was not like the watchers. It was rough, broken, full of rage. You were warned. You called them. Now the silence ends in fire. Jake dropped to one knee. He had a choice now. Go home. Or follow the map the tower gave him. He chose the map. Washington, D.C., Black Site Archive room deep under a secret facility. A locked vault opened. Inside, a box, cold and humming softly. The file read, Project Echo, recovered signal from 1977. A man in a suit placed a small silver disc on the table. A scientist looked at it carefully. It's still active? Yes, the man said, and now it's speaking again. They turned on the machine. A strange humming filled the room. Then a voice spoke, not human, but translated by the system. Signal accepted. Return the core. The past must wake. The scientist whispered, What core? The man replied, That's what we need to find. Fast. Jake reaches the caves. Jake followed the metallic map through the ice and snow. It led to a cave hidden beneath rock and frost. He stepped inside with only a flashlight and his notebook. As he walked deeper, strange symbols appeared on the cave walls. The same mark burned on his arm, again and again. The cave led down far below Earth's surface. Then, he reached it. A giant metal door. Old, ancient, covered in dust and strange blue vines like living wires. He touched the door. It opened. Inside the ancient chamber, the chamber was round, smooth, and silent. In the center, a large crystal, floating, spinning. It glowed blue, then red, then it spoke. Earth's forgotten voice has returned. The speaker is accepted. Jake asked, What is this place? The voice replied, A signal base, one of many. You call it ancient. We call it the beginning. Suddenly, Jake saw visions like dreams crashing into his brain, cities in space, Earth sending signals. A war long ago. One line repeated in the visions, Do not wake the Omega core. Then everything went black. The fifth ship speaks. All satellites received the same message. Audio only. No video. A voice, deep and broken, like rusted metal grinding against bone. We heard your signal. We followed your noise. We do not forgive. It continued. The watchers are cowards. They judge, we burn. A new warning appeared on every device. Omega is not forgotten. Return it, or be erased. People around the world panicked. What was Omega? Why did they want it? Who even sent the signal? Inside the Pentagon, meeting of shadows, a small group of high-ranking officials sat in a dark room. The leader, a woman with silver hair, spoke calmly. Project Omega was shut down in 1991, or so we thought. Another general whispered, "What was it really?" The woman looked him in the eyes. Omega was not just a satellite. It was a seed, a copy of something alien, something we didn't understand. We hid it underground. She paused, but now, it's waking up. Jake and the crystal core back in the chamber. The crystal glowed brighter. Jake asked, "Is this Omega?" The voice replied, "No, this is the key. Omega sleeps. But not for long." Jake touched the crystal. Suddenly, the mark on his arm glowed like fire. The walls of the chamber shifted, showing a map of the Earth. Red dots lit up across the globe. Each dot marked a place where similar signals had once been sent. Jake asked, "What do I do?" The voice whispered, "Follow the path. Find the truth, or Earth ends in shadow." The Watchers respawned above the Earth. The 4 Watcher ships moved together. They formed a circle around the 5th ship. Each flashed symbols of warning. Then, the Watchers sent a second message. The Hunter does not seek peace. It seeks silence. Forever, they added. You have 3 days to return the core, or the Hunter will strike. The world now had a deadline. The secret beneath Nevada 1 of the red dots from Jake's map pointed to an old underground base in Nevada. Years ago, it was closed. Now it was open again. Inside, soldiers found something shocking. A giant container, frozen. Inside it, a glowing orb, black and red, with alien markings, the same symbol that matched Jake's mark. One scientist whispered, "This is the Omega core." The general in charge ordered it moved to a secure facility. But before they could touch it, the orb sent out a pulse. The base lost power. Then the orb spoke. "The speaker is near. The war begins again." Jake has a vision. Jake passed out in the snow, just outside the chamber. His mind entered a strange dream. He stood on a dead world. Skies red. Mountains floating. Cities burned. A woman stood beside him, tall, with silver eyes. She was not human. She spoke. "The core inside Earth is not from Earth. It was buried to hide it, but the Hunter felt its signal." Jake asked, "Can we stop it?" She replied, "Only the speaker can choose. Join the Watchers, or awaken the core." Then she vanished. Jake woke up sweating. His next move was clear. Final 12 hours, the countdown had begun. World leaders held meetings. Cities prepared bunkers. Scientists begged for answers. Jake sent a signal from the chamber to NASA. He gave the location of the Omega core. Then he added one final message. "Don't touch it. Don't move it. Let me come." NASA receives Jake's transmission in Houston. The message appeared. Encrypted but clear. The speaker was alive. And he was close. Dr. Crow watched the data in shock. She whispered, "He knows more than we do." Her assistant asked, "Do we let him near the core?" She nodded. "We have no choice." Final scene, the core awakens as Jake boarded a government jet to Nevada. The Omega core began to glow. All lights in the facility turned red. The core lifted slightly from its base. It whispered in a language no one understood. Then a screen inside the base lit up. One line appeared. "He is coming." The Watchers prepared their defense. The Hunter ship charged its weapons, and far across the galaxy, other ships began to move, because now, the war was no longer a whisper. It had become a scream. The world was running out of time. Above the Earth, 5 ships floated in the dark sky. 4 were Watchers, silent judges of the galaxy. But the 5th, the Hunter, had come for war. The countdown had started. Only 12 hours were left. And deep under the Nevada desert, something older than Earth was waking up. Jake and Flight Jake sat in a black jet, flying across the night sky. His hands shook. His mind buzzed. The visions were getting stronger. Each second, he saw flashes of fire, broken planets, and one image that returned again and again. A black orb in the center of Earth, crying, burning, screaming. The voice in his head spoke again. The core is alive. It remembers pain, and it remembers you. Jake whispered, "Why me?" But no answer came. Nevada Black Zone facility. The base was on full alert. Guards in armor. Drones in the air. Weapons pointed in every direction. Inside, the Omega core floated in a glass chamber. It pulsed slowly. A heartbeat of red and black. It was no longer cold. It was warming up. Lights blinked on its surface. Symbols no human could read. Then it spoke. Again, "The speaker is near. Let him enter." The scientists looked at each other. Was the core controlling the systems now? It was. NASA Command Center DR. Lillian Crow watched data stream in. The fifth ship, the Hunter, was fully powered now. It had opened 3 large bays. Beneath its surface, each one glowed red. "Weapons," she whispered. A general asked, "What happens if we don't give them?" "The core?" Crow looked at the screens. "They won't destroy one city. They'll erase the entire planet." "Why?" someone asked. Crow replied, "Because Omega is not human. It's theirs." Flashback, 1977. The first Signal A secret team in 1977 had received a signal. It came from deep space, coded, complex, beautiful. They didn't understand it, but they answered it. They built something based on that signal. A sphere, a machine. Then, strange things started happening. Satellites failed. Dreams became nightmares. Scientists went mad. In 1982, they buried the core underground. They locked it, erased the files, but the core remembered. It waited. Jake arrives. At the facility, the jet landed. Jake stepped out. Soldiers surrounded him, but they didn't stop him. They recognized his face from the transmission. A scientist led him to the main chamber. Through thick glass, Jake saw it for the first time. The Omega core. It was alive. It floated like it was breathing. He stepped closer. The core glowed. The mark on Jake's arm burned like fire. Suddenly the glass wall opened. The core spoke. "Come, speaker." Jake walked inside. Inside the core room, Jake stood in front of the core. The room felt heavy. The core rotated slowly in the air. Then, a beam of light touched Jake's chest. Visions hit him again. But this time, they were clear. He saw the truth. Long time ago, a great war broke out in the stars. 2 powerful races. The Watchers, protectors of life. The Hunters, destroyers of silence. Between them was something they both feared, the Omega Force. A living weapon. Created by accident. It could hear all signals, feel all thoughts. It became too powerful. So they broke it. Pieces of it were hidden across the galaxy. One of those pieces fell to Earth. The core. Jake stepped back, gasping for air. You're a piece of a weapon?" The core replied, "I was life. Then they made me war." The Hunter sends a final warning. All devices on Earth suddenly froze. Screens turned black. Then a voice spoke. Deep, cold, metallic. "Time is finished. Return the core, or Earth burns." The Watcher ships responded. "Earth must choose." The speaker holds the key. Jake faces the choice inside the core room. A small panel opened on the wall. 2 buttons appeared. Blue, release the core. Red, lock the core forever. The core spoke. One opens the truth. One closes it forever. Jake asked, "What happens if I release you?" "I become whole. I stop the war, or I become the war. And if I lock you, I sleep. The world stays blind. But the hunter will keep coming. Jake looked at the buttons. Sweat ran down his face. He had only minutes to decide. Back in orbit, the fifth ship began to move. Its lower panels opened wider. Inside, thousands of small black drones activated. Each one pulsed with red light. Each one aimed at Earth. The first wave was ready. The hunter whispered, "Erase." But then, the Watchers moved. They formed a shield, thin but wide. They blocked the drones for now. But the shield was breaking. Time was almost gone. Final countdown. Jake decides. Jake placed his hand on the panel. He looked at both buttons. Then, he remembered something from the dream. Peace does not come from silence. It comes from truth. He pressed blue. Released the core. The room shook. The core lifted higher. Its red color turned white. It spoke one last time. "Now they will remember who I was." Then it exploded in light. The core rises above the Nevada desert. The ground cracked open. A beam of light shot into the sky. It touched the Watchers. It touched the hunter. And it touched every mind on Earth. People saw images of ancient stars, of broken peace, of forgotten truth. The core rose from the earth, now fully awake. Not as a weapon. Not as a god, but as a voice. The voice of the galaxy. The hunter falls. The core spoke to the hunter. Not in words, but in thought. A deep, endless thought. It showed them pain. It showed them what silence had destroyed. The hunter paused, then screamed. A scream heard in every device, every mind. Then its ship cracked. One piece fell into space. The rest turned dark. Watchers did not attack. They simply watched. The hunter ship slowly floated away. Retreating. For now, Earth is changed. People looked at the sky with new eyes. They had seen what was out there. They had touched a force older than time. The core now floated in low orbit, silent, glowing. No longer hidden. No longer asleep. Jake's final message back. At the base, Jake sat alone. A small camera recorded him. He spoke softly. "This is not the end. The Watchers are still here. The hunter may return, but the core is awake now, and it's watching with us." He paused. "We sent a signal. Once, a whisper into space. Now space has whispered back." He looked up, and the galaxy is listening. The sky was no longer quiet. The Watchers still circled Earth. The hunter had vanished into deep space, and the core, now awake, glowed above the planet like a second moon. But something else had come, something unseen, something darker than the hunter. Shadows. From the stars, Jake's return. Jake stood outside the Nevada base, looking at the glowing sphere in orbit. His body still felt weak from the core's energy. His mind echoed with alien voices, but something felt wrong. He closed his eyes. Felt it. A presence. Cold. Watching. Far beyond the hunter. Not a ship. Not a being. A force. It had noticed Earth. And now it was coming. NASA emergency meeting in a secured NASA room. Dr. Lillian Crow presented a strange signal. It's not from the core. It's not from the Watchers. It's something else. On the screen, a long waveform showed up. Not a voice, not words, just a deep hum. And behind it, whispers. Scientists tried to decode it, but failed. One young researcher finally translated 3 chilling words. "We are near." The room went silent. A general stood up. "Do we prepare for war again?" Dr. Crow replied. "No, this isn't war. This is something older." In orbit, the Watchers react. The 4 Watcher ships suddenly turned toward the edge of the solar system. One of them flashed a signal. "Warning, presence detected beyond Saturn." Another message followed. "Dark matter unknowns approaching. Not recognized." Then, without warning, 2 Watcher ships broke orbit and launched into space. They were going to meet whatever was coming, and Earth could only wait. Jake's new vision that night. Jake collapsed again. The core sent him another vision, but this one was different. He stood in a dark galaxy, Empty. No stars. No light. Then a giant shadow appeared. It stretched across entire systems. Planets broke under it. Light disappeared where it moved. Jake heard the core's voice. They are not life. They are not machine. They are end. He asked, what do they want? Everything. Black Site number 9, Siberian, a hidden Russian facility. Scientists. We're running old data. One machine built in 1983 began to glow. It had once listened to space. Now it was screaming. The signal it received had never been decoded, but today it translated a word: return. Then the power shut off. One scientist muttered, we never sent anything. But he was wrong. Back in 1983, the Soviets had launched something into deep space, a small black cube, and now it was coming back. Jake meets the core again back in Nevada. Jake entered the chamber again. The core floated calmly, but its colors had changed, now darker, slower. Are you afraid? Jake asked. The core pulsed. Even light fears the dark. Jake took a breath. What are they? Not watchers. Not hunters. They are feeders. Feeders? They do not speak. They do not reason. They absorb planets, stars, thought. Jake's stomach twisted. And they're coming? They have already arrived. The moon base goes dark. Humans had built a small base on the moon. A team of 6 astronauts worked there, but contact was suddenly lost. A rescue drone was sent. It found the base. Empty. No bodies, no signs of attack. Just shadows on the walls shaped like people. The drone sent one final image before shutting down. A black orb floating above the moon's surface. Not human. Not machine. Alive. And watching. Back on Earth, fear spreads. News began to leak. Cities heard rumors of new enemies. People saw the Watchers leaving. They felt abandoned again. Protests erupted. Some begged to hide the core again. Others wanted to destroy it. A few believed it was all part of a galactic test. Jake knew the truth. This isn't a test, he told Dr. Crow. This is the beginning. Secret meeting. The core, Jake, and Crow inside the control room. Jake and Crow stood before the glowing core. Dr. Crow asked, can you stop them? The core replied, no, I am signal. I am memory. I am not a weapon. Jake asked, then what can we do? There is only one way. You must go where they come from. Crow blinked. Into deep space? Yes, there lies the first gate. The source of all shadows. Close it, or Earth will follow others into the dark. Jake looked shocked. How? We have no ship. No speed. No time. The core pulsed softly. I can show you. A forgotten technology, Project STRCH. Crow dug through classified NASA files. She found something. Project Starchase. A deep space travel concept abandoned in 2001. It was based on an alien design recovered decades ago. Not a ship that travels space. A ship that folds it. Jake stood over the blueprints. It's not complete, he said. Crow replied. But it can be, with the core's help. The core spoke again. Build it. I will power it. It is the only way to reach the gate. Construction begins in a secret location. Work on Starchase began. Engineers, scientists, and even former astronauts were pulled in. The core sent signals directly to machines, unlocking alien schematics. Time was short. Every 6 hours, a new blackout hit some part of Earth. Satellites vanished. Radio towers melted. The feeders were testing Earth's defenses, and Earth had almost none. Back in space, a Watcher falls near Saturn. The 2 Watcher ships reached the dark zone. One entered it. A minute later, it vanished. No explosion. No sound. Just gone. The second Watcher sent one last signal. Gate is open. The feeders move as fog. No form, no face. No mercy. Then its lights faded. Earth received the signal. Hope cracked. Jake's final test on a night before the launch. Jake had a final vision. He stood in a great hall built of stars and sound. An old voice spoke. You are not chosen because you are strong. You are chosen because you listened. Jake nodded. I'm afraid. All speakers are. Then the stars opened. And the dream ended. He woke up with one word in his mind. Go. The Starchase ship, ready the ship stood. Tall, silver and sharp, not made to fly, made to disappear. And reappear far away. It had no engines. Just one glowing sphere in the center, the core. Jake walked inside. No buttons. No screens. Just one seat. He sat. The core's voice echoed. Close your eyes. I'll take you where the stars forget their names. Launch the Earth Watch. Every screen, every phone, every satellite showed the same thing. Jake. The core. The ship. A beam of light surrounded it. Then silence. And the ship was gone. Space was silent, but the silence was not peace. It was fear. Jake floated inside the ship called Starchase. No buttons. No windows. Just stars around him. Beside him, the core hummed, quiet, glowing, alive. Where are we going? Jake asked. The core answered softly. To the edge of thought. To the first darkness. To the gate of shadows. Jake gripped the seat. His heart beat faster. Something waited ahead. Something that even the watchers feared. The journey through Fold Spacede. Ship did not fly. It bent space. Folded it. Tore holes in the dark. Jake saw flashes as they moved. A red star exploding, a city floating on nothing. A black ocean in the sky. Time moved strangely. 1 second felt like an hour. 1 hour felt like a blink. Jake heard whispers. Voices. Not human. They called his name in a language he didn't understand. The core spoke again. We are close. Prepare yourself. Back on Earth. The signs grow stronger. Dr. Lillian Crow stood in front of a huge digital map. All across Earth. Strange black circles had begun to appear. Not real objects, shadows in the sky. Seen by naked eyes but invisible to satellites. They hovered over oceans, deserts, cities. People reported nightmares. Animals fled from the shadows. Technology failed near them. One child in Brazil drew a perfect shape in sand, one that matched alien carvings from the core. Crow whispered to herself, "They're already here. Watching, waiting." The Watcher's last gift. Suddenly, one Watcher ship returned to Earth orbit. It was damaged, cracked, silent. Then it sent a final transmission to the core. Deliver the weapon to the gate. Use the speaker. Only he can close it. And with that, the Watcher ship shut down forever. Its lights faded. Its body drifted. Earth was alone again. Starchase reaches the gate far from Earth. Jake's ship slowed down. In front of him floated something massive. Not a ship, not a planet. A gate, dark, broken, pulsing. It was shaped like an eye. Closed, yet alive. The core glowed brighter. Jake stared in silence, his mouth dry, his hands shaking. "This is it?" he asked. The core replied, "The gate of shadows. It connects all silence. It feeds on memory. It lives on fear." Jake whispered, "Why me?" "Because you remember." Inside the gate, the ship moved closer. As they passed through the edge of the gate, the world changed. Everything turned black and gray. There were no stars. No time, only fog and shapes. Then Jake saw them, the feeders. They were not ships. Not creatures. They were shadows, tall, endless, moving like smoke. No face, no eyes. Just hunger. They floated around a giant sphere, dark and pulsing like a heart. Jake felt their thoughts. Cold, empty. "We take. We erase. You are next." He trembled. The core spoke. "They are not alive. They are memory killers." The truth of the feeders. The core began showing Jake visions. Long ago, a race of beings tried to control all space. They created a living machine, Omega, but Omega became too powerful. It started feeling everything: joy, pain, fear. Silenced at Omega broke. From its broken mind came the feeders. They were not created. They were born from broken thoughts. Left alone, they grew. Now. They move through galaxies, feeding on anything with memory. They do not want to destroy, said the core. They want to forget, and make all others forget. Jake's eyes widened. If they reach Earth, Earth will be silent forever. The final Tasque circle appeared in the center of the gate. It pulsed red. It was the source, the feeding core of the gate. Jake had one mission: deliver the core into the center of that source. It was the only way to close the gate. But the feeders would not allow it. Suddenly, hundreds of shadows turned toward the ship. The speaker must not pass. Jake felt fear attack his mind. His memories faded, his name, his home, his mission. Gone. Then, the core glowed stronger. Hold on, speaker. I will shield your thoughts. A bright light wrapped around Jake. His memories returned. He gritted his teeth. Let's end this. The battle in thought. This was not a battle of weapons. It was a battle of mind that the feeders attacked with thoughts. Whispers, pain, guilt, regret. Jake saw his worst fears. Earth burning, his mother crying, himself alone, forgotten, but he held on. The core lit up. Its light hit the feeders. They screamed, not with sound, but with broken time. They began to fall back. Jake shouted, now! Entering the source, the ship flew into the red circle. Everything turned bright white. The shadows vanished. Jake floated, glowing. The core spoke gently. This is where I end. But you must continue, Jake asked. What do you mean? I am memory. If I stay, the feeders will never return. But I cannot return with you. Jake felt tears in his eyes. You're sacrificing yourself. Not death. Just silence. Peaceful silence. The core lifted from the ship. Thank you, speaker. You remembered when others forgot. Then it floated into the center. A deep hum began. The gate shook, closing. The gate light exploded in every direction. The feeders screamed as they were pulled into the collapsing gate. One by one, they vanished. The red circle turned white. Then silver, then nothing. The gate cracked and collapsed. It was over. Jake falls into sleep. Jake's ship floated in silence. Systems dead. No power, no core. He closed his eyes. He saw Earth, blue and beautiful. He smiled. Then everything went black. Back on Earth, one signal at NASA. Alarms went off. One satellite picked up a tiny signal. Far away. Dr. Crow ran to the console. It's him. It's Jake. The message was broken, but clear. Gate closed, memory safe. And then, coming home. Crow smiled. The world cheered. For the first time in weeks, Earth felt safe. The sky clears all across Earth. The black shadows faded. The strange circles in the sky vanished. Animals calmed. Machines worked again. And for the first time in human history, people looked up and knew they were not alone. And they were not helpless. Epilogue. The empty orbit high above Earth, where the core once floated, there is now only space. Sometimes, on quiet nights, astronomers see a flicker, a small white light. No one knows what it is, but those who remember say, the core may be gone, but its memory watches still. Earth was healing. The sky had cleared. The shadows had gone. The gate of shadows was closed, but the world still looked up. And listened. They waited for one voice, one signal, one name. Jake. 6 weeks later, NASA base DR. Lillian Crow sat in front of her computer, tired but hopeful. Every day, they scanned space. Every day, they searched for Jake's ship. Every day, silence. Until today. A small beep echoed in the control room. A satellite picked up something. Weak, broken, but real. Crow leaned forward. Is it him? A young scientist nodded. Signal. Code matches Starchase. She smiled for the first time in days. Boost it. Bring him home. Jake's ship, the Drift Jake, floated inside his dead ship. Oxygen low, systems offline. He'd been unconscious for days. Maybe weeks. He did not know. He opened his eyes slowly. Saw only stars, but then a soft light blinked on the control panel. A voice came through Dr. Crow's voice. Jake, if you're out there, we hear you. We're coming. Jake smiled, weak, tired, but alive. The rescue shuttle was sent from the International Station. It reached him in hours. Jake was found floating, eyes open, whispering something. The core is not gone. It is watching. The medics pulled him into the ship. He was safe. The world watched on live broadcast. For the first time, Earth cheered as one. Jake's return to Earth. Crow stood at the base as the rescue shuttle landed. The door opened. Jake stepped out slowly, thin, pale, but smiling. They hugged. You did it, she said, tears in her eyes. Jake nodded. No, we did. The crowd clapped. Cameras flashed, but Jake's eyes looked up at the sky. He still felt something. One final debrief in a quiet NASA room. Jake sat across from top officials and scientists. He told them everything. The gate, the feeders, the cores. Sacrifice, the light that closed the shadows. One general asked, are they truly gone? Jake paused, then said, yes, for now. But space has no end. And darkness always finds a way back. Crow leaned in. What did the core mean when it said you must continue? Jake looked thoughtful. The core gave us memory. Now we must protect it. The memorial. Weeks later, Earth built a new station in orbit. A white, shining ring. No weapons. No army. It was named the Core Giro-di. Inside it, a small piece of light floated. The last spark from the real core. People from every country came to visit. They left messages, drawings, and hopes. Children touched the glass and whispered, thank you, core. And the spark always blinked in reply. A new team, Project Lightwave, and NASA and global scientists started a new mission. Project Lightwave goal: to learn more about fold space, the feeders, and what lies beyond the stars. Jake was made leader. He trained others to listen, to connect, to speak, not just with words, but with memory. He called them speakers of the light, and one by one, they prepared. Strange dreams begin again, but something strange started happening. People across the planet began to dream. Not nightmares, dreams of stars, of floating cities, of voices saying, remember us. Jake listened to the reports. He felt his heart beat faster. He recognized the dreams. They were not human. They were not the feeders. They were something else. Crow's discovery. The hidden message. Crow called Jake one night. I decoded something from your old signal, she said. Jake came quickly to the lab. She showed him a waveform inside the background noise. There was a message, not from Jake, not from the feeders, but from the core. This is not the end. It is the doorway. Jake whispered the words again. The doorway. What does it mean? Crow asked. Jake replied, we close the gate of shadows, but there may be other gates, other watchers, other wars. A flicker in deep space. A telescope caught something near Alpha Centauri. Not a shadow, not a threat, but a light, moving, pulsing, calling. Crow looked at the data. It's a signal. Brand new. Jake closed his eyes. He heard the core's voice one last time. The galaxy speaks. Now, Earth must answer. The final words at a world broadcast. Jake stood in front of billions. His voice calm, strong, clear. Earth was once silent, but now we speak, we remember, we protect. And if the stars call, we will answer. He raised his hand to the sky. The crowd followed. One child looked up and asked, do you think the core can still hear us? Jake smiled. Yes. It always could. And above them, in the black sky, a small white dot blinked once, then again, then faded into the stars.